starting right now. Here's your host, Alfredo Leon.
Back Ella, and I was not planning on doing a video until this breaking news when the New York Knicks have agreed to trade Kristaps Porzingis to the Dallas Mavericks for Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, and Wesley Matthews, and likely two first-round picks, as sources told the New York Times, Mark Stein, and Shams Charania of Yahoo Sports. This was earlier today, so Stein also added that the Mavericks will take on the contracts of Tim Hardaway Jr., Courtney Lee, Trey Burke, in a deal as the Knicks look to create up to possibly $74 million in cap space for free agency this summer. Earlier today, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski and Ramona Shelburne reported that Porzingis met with the team management and left them with the impression that he would prefer to be traded before next Thursday's deadline, which wound up happening today. So Porzingis spoke with Knicks management about the state of this franchise and his future with the team. He and his brother Giannis, who was also his agent, expressed his frustration with the franchise's losing ways, past dysfunction on the team, and uncertainty over creating a sustainable, successful organization, Woj reports. As the number 4 overall pick in the 2015 draft, Porzingis has been sidelined for nearly a year after he tore his ACL. He was named an All-Star in 2017-18, but his injury occurred days after that and never got to play in that game, the All-Star game. Porzingis can become a restricted free agent this summer. Per Wojnarowski, he has been searching for clarity on his future role with the team and the franchise's direction. Since being drafted in 2015, Porzingis has seen his name in a number of trade talks. The Knicks had never won more than 32 games in each of Porzingis' 3 seasons, and he played for 3 coaches, which were Derek Fisher, Kurt Rambis, and Jeff Hornacek during that span. In December, team president Steve Mills said the team was pleased with Porzingis' recovery from his ACL, and another round of testing scheduled for mid-February, which could clarify his timeline for his return. Porzingis was hurt February 6th after landing on a dunk in a game against Milwaukee. The Knicks are last in the Eastern Conference at 10-40. Porzingis also has plans to bet on himself by signing a 1-year qualified offer in which he could become an unrestricted free agent in 2020. He could also sign a 5-year extension to stay in Dallas as well. I think this is a good trade for the Knicks here to trade Porzingis, as there was a lot of problems behind the scenes with Porzingis, and Porzingis has been kind of acting up with the team, and he hasn't always been their responsibility. He hasn't always been responsive either. And the fact when Phil Jackson was let go and in the meetings with him and Porzingis never even showed up, that's just a bunch of not a responsible move out of him, and it was time for him to go, and he wanted to trade, especially with that meeting earlier today. It said that, especially with him not being happy with the situation, he kind of wanted out of there. So I was sort of surprised at first when I heard the news, but once I read about that beforehand, and it was not as surprising anymore when the trade came and happened with Porzingis. And I think it's a good move for the Knicks, especially trying to free up cap space for this summer to be able to sign guys like Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and even Klay Thompson, even though they have 2 space for cap players. Even Kawhi Leonard's also available. All those guys are available, but they're going to be competing with teams like the Los Angeles Lakers and the Clippers and the Brooklyn Nets, too, who also have cap space. Every one of those teams have space for 2 players, max-wise, unless if the Lakers trade for Anthony Davis, which the New Orleans Pelicans have stated they don't want to do. But this is a good move for the Knicks, especially as they get likely two first-round picks, and those picks won't be much later, as the Knicks will likely they'll have a top 3 pick this year, and likely this team is going to have a good roster, maybe if they sign Durant and Irving, and if they get Zion Williamson in the draft as well. But this is a good move, as they get another player who the Knicks should have drafted, and a player like Dennis Smith Jr., and They twice now. This is the second player on the roster that they have, along with Emmanuel Mudiay, that the Knicks probably should have gotten in the draft, but they get him back anyway. As the year that Mudiay was drafted was the year Porzingis was drafted, and as they should have drafted him, probably most likely. And in the 2017 draft, when the Knicks instead drafted Frank Ntilikina, who hasn't really done much, and there's also a possibility he may be traded at some point as well. And instead, they drafted him instead of Dennis Smith Jr., another move with him, and Smith is on the Knicks now anyway. So they just got him a few years later. So I guess better late than never. But Porzingis, at least the Knicks got value for him. As Porzingis has thought about maybe not even staying with the Knicks beyond the next year anyway. So it's a good move that they traded him and got some value instead of him walking away for nothing. And now they have another guy who was paid and not there anymore. So now they could try to focus on the future, even though they had the impression that Porzingis should have been there, especially being the star after they traded away Carmelo Anthony. And the fact is, he's now gone as well. So it's a good move for the Knicks, and he wasn't happy anymore. And especially given the bad impression of how the Knicks situation was toxic. And the losing kind of got to it, but still, though, it was a good move. They needed to get a guy like that out of the locker room who wasn't very always there for the team. And the fact when the Knicks thought that he was still injured and rehabbing, he kind of gave them the middle finger by showing he was running and everything like that. I bet you that, that was a good sign. He'll be good. He'll come back sooner. But instead, he had all these problems and all these problems with the team and everything. And it was just a mess with Porzingis. He needed to go, and the Knicks weren't doing well, so might as well get as much value for him as possible, and they did. And acquiring all these assets, trading away onerous contracts in Tim Hardaway Jr., he should have never been signed to a 4-year deal. Anyway, that's just too much for an okay player. And Courtney Lee as well. At some point, these guys were going to get moved. And Trey Burke, he was a nice player when he was here. So being a big story, having a 42-point game for a guy that didn't really live up to expectations when he was at the Utah Jazz, and it was in the G League mostly last season. So good move out of the Knicks. I know that it's just mostly cap space and everything like that. It's air. But still, though, who knows? Maybe Durant and Irving could come here. But based on the Knicks' luck, in 2010, they could have gotten LeBron James, but they did, and he went to the Miami Heat, and the rest of the story. So hopefully this time around it'll work out, but who knows? It's just air. So we'll see what happens, but at least the Knicks are in position to gain 2 stars. I mean, Kyrie Irving has stated before that he's wanted to join the Knicks, and even Kevin Durant, he stated before as well that he's interested in the Knicks, even though a couple times he denied it and said he wasn't interested. But his best friend is Royal Ivey, who used to play with him when he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder, and he's one of the assistant coaches on the Knicks. But just because that's the case doesn't mean he's going to join the team. So that happens in a lot of sports when you try to hire people, good friends and buddies and side teammates and everything like that. But there's no guarantee he's coming here. No guarantee neither one of them will come here. But hopefully they'll position themselves to get him. And I mean they still have young talent. Like I said, they got Moutier, they got Kevin Knox, who's been pretty good as a rookie, and they got now Dennis Smith Jr., who they could build up around those guys. And who knows, maybe Enes Kanter could be happy now. Maybe he'll get his minutes back since Porzingis and a lot of the starting lineup has been traded. I think all those guys were those starters at one point. Porzingis, he didn't play all year, so he's likely going to sit out. But on the flip side, that's good for the Mavericks, as they got 3 European guys with Dirk Nowitzki and Luka Doncic, who's had a pretty good rookie year as well. And it's basically like Europe in the U.S., so the team Europe. So, and all 3 of those guys are good friends. I mean, Doncic and Porzingis are good friends, and Porzingis, he idolized Dirk Nowitzki, so now he's playing with him. But I'm not sure if he's going to be playing this year. But he's definitely taking a risk by trying to go for a 1-year deal, bet on himself. Who knows that it will work out because of the injury. So, but at least the Knicks got rid of the cancer like Porzingis, and now they could focus on trying to build for the future. And I don't think Jordan's going to stay, or even Matthews is going to stay. Those guys will probably be let go, bought out, or traded. They're not going to be playing for a losing team. They're going to want to win. But Dennis Smith Jr., that's a good asset, good point guard. I mean, they got a lot of point guards now on the team. I mean, but they got rid of some, but at least they got another one back. And maybe they could play Smith and Moutier together, the 2 Knicks that should have been drafted, but wound up joining them anyway. So, good move out of them. And probably the killer is probably on the way out, like I said, because they got too many point guards on the team now. So, all these guards could cause a lot of problems in the lineup. So, but still, good trade for the Knicks to Porzingis. We'll see what happens, though, if they could sign Irving and Durant to really make this trade look great. And hopefully, Porzingis doesn't turn out to be an amazing talent, like the great player. He could be good, but not one of the best in the league. And the Knicks could be shaking their head later, wishing they didn't do that trade. But all in all, it's a good trade overall right now. We'll see what happens in the offseason. But right now, the Knicks got 2 first-round picks, which could be lottery protected. That could be a big dig if the Knicks are still bad, but hopefully they're not, as a fan of the team. So hopefully the Knicks could end up doing something good in the offseason and maybe have some luck finally go their way, as that hasn't happened in the franchises that much. I mean, the last time they signed a lot of stars was in 1996 when they had Patrick Ewing, and they signed Chris Childs and Larry Johnson, guys like that. And they had Allen Houston, who those guys spent a good amount of time with the team, and thing is, though, they haven't been as competitive since then. I mean, anytime we talk about the Knicks being good, you always refer back to when Ewing was on the team, because those were their best years in recent memory, even though they couldn't get that ultimate championship. Hopefully this time around they can get guys to come here, and that'd be a great sight as well. So it should be interesting to see what happens, but good trade. Good. They get Porzingis. Was a bit surprising at first when the trade happened, but I should have seen this coming, so it was a good move out of them. Kudos, and we'll see if they can maximize it by getting some value like Durant and Irving in the offseason. So we'll see what happens there. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like. If you are brand new, subscribe. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.